Just a tip. If you want to get a girl interested, don't open with a story about whores.
My name is Luke Griffiths, and I'm the writer, director, and co-producer on The Scarlet Sapphire. So basically, I'm the reason everybody got out of their bed early in the morning, every morning for the shoot, and why significant amounts of people have been working very, very hard over the last 2 years and getting this film together. So I'm the one to blame for that. When sort of going into this film, I really wanted to produce something that was smart, sophisticated, but ultimately entertaining, and present something that was surprising. In that the way a film starts, you really don't know where it's going to go, and just sort of starting with that blank slate and just building on every single moment, so that every single second of this film builds on the last one, so that by the end it's just this momentous boulder just smashing through things. In The Scarlet Sapphire, there is a lot of stuff that happens in the shadows, behind the scenes, and it all sort of feeds into the action that's exactly happening in front of us. So, it has this sort of noirish sort of mystery aspect to it, where it's sort of, you don't really know what's going on, but you know that it's something big. And then this just feeds into the production design and the cinematography and everything, just this sort of these real deep shadows, and this sort of just sort of sexy, sort of strong colors, and very almost comic book style, but sort of realistic, and it's just has this sexy, sort of sophisticated, smoky sort of feel to it. It's just it's just real. It just oozes class. Yeah, no, I mean Scarlett's a really cool character. I really like her. I really liked writing her, and I really liked Emily portraying her. Sort of just this calm, collected, but ultimately very strong and very sort of emotional sort of person who can, is able to handle what she needs to in a stoic fashion, but then is also able to present, warmth and security when she needs to do it. And it's just she's just a very strong character, and and very, very intelligent, very sophisticated, and also very, very sexy in the end. And I think all those sorts of things coming together just creates this really rich, sort of bigger than life sort of person. Yeah, I mean, I really like Alex. He's a charming, sadistically charming person, and Paul plays that perfectly. He's this charm. He was charm the pants off anybody, and and sort of the phrase I've always liked of him. He's the charmer who prefers the art of the silver tongue to the gun, but he can use the gun if he needs to. Where the little core of this film came from is actually from I was one evening a few years ago. I was going on a jog. I was jogging around Lake Munga, and through the day I'd been thinking about this shot I wanted to do, and as much of a technical experiment as anything, is just this shot was basically sort of extreme close up, a woman's eye. In the background, a silhouetted figure appears, blown out, and then she turns, and as she turns, we pull focus, and we sort of pull the iris to reveal a man holding a child. That was the shot. And I like to, if I'm going to do any technical experiment, I kind of like to make it at least interesting on a creative level. And so from this shot, I was sort of running around, I was sort of thinking, alright, so we've got this, there's drama in there, there's already this, that's telling a story of some form. And I was just intrigued by it, so then I sort of was there, and then I just followed forward, just forwards from there, going, okay, so who is this child, who is this woman, who is this person, what is going on, what comes before this, where do we start here? And then you sort of fill in that sort of the backstory, and you go, okay, so if this is what it is, where does it go from there? And then I ended up sort of infusing a few different sorts of influences and ideas into this sort of concept, and sort of added in a little bit, at the time I wanted to experiment, with really sort of talky Tarantino-esque dialogue, and also going, sort of trying to do a film that has sort of this, this action thriller sort of noir aspect, but with a little bit of experimentalism in there, and like a little bit of off stuff that's you sort of don't quite normally see in regular mainstream stuff, and then also put in a bit of an left of field element, which comes in the form of Scarlett's hypnosis technique, which intrigued me because it was risky in that element, going, this is really, really easy, could be hokey, but I'll test myself to see if I can make it work. And that was sort of, I took those elements together. Then over the next, basically next 4 or so days, on my train commute in the morning into work, I had about, it was about 45 minutes, and I had my iPhone, and I just wrote the script on my phone over those next 4 days. Then, feeling pretty chuffed, got pretty much all the way to the end. I then showed that script to a friend, and they hated it. It was amazing. They absolutely hated it, and I was a bit discouraged, but I made a couple of little changes to it, and then put it away for a year, and till one day I fished it out of the drawer, and the rest is history. I guess we had by the end, we had kind of almost a little small army working on this film. I mean, I think in the end, the total cast and crew that we had working on this film numbered up to nearly 50, which is pretty insane. And when I started this project, I never really had any concept that that's how many people would have working on this film by the end of it. So just through every single step of the process. I mean, I guess first off, it starts with me on my own. Then I sort of went to the trio of Emily, Michelle, and Melinda. Emily being Scarlett, and Michelle and Melinda being my co-producers. And then from there, one step leads to another. Suddenly you've got getting a DOP on board, and like in Greg Knight, and then you've got your stunt coordinator on board, and Adam Howe. Then going further, and you've got makeup and production designer Una and Jennifer, and then from there it just grows and grows and grows, and then suddenly you're on set with like 30 other people. Then when you go from set, then you suddenly give it to your post-production team, and then it expands out even further, and then by the end you just got legions of people working on this project to get it finished over the course of like 2 years. So it's when that credit list goes up, it's pretty interesting seeing all the names on there. Which is always a process of you plan to the minutest detail, and then you throw it away. Because when you get on set, it all changes. And so then we had basically, this period of basically what ended up being 1.5 days on set of just super fast work, just to get through everything that we needed to get to. It was pretty amazing seeing how fast the whole crew sort of worked. And it's if you've never seen 30 people working in somewhat of a unison, without everybody knows what they need to do and everybody's guided in a certain way, it's pretty amazing machine working there. So and which was really good, because at that time I could trust the machine would work, and I just had to sort of focus on pointing it where it needed to go. Then we move into the editing process, which is both a wonderful process and an incredibly painful process. It's where you put it all together and go, okay, did the decisions we make, were they good ones? And luckily on this film, most of them were. And it's maybe some of the decisions that weren't the best decisions, we're able to work around them and sort of sculpt them into it. I mean, and Chris, and that was where I went with Chris, and that was just like an excellent sort of time to work in. And I mean, it was just, bouncing ideas back and forth and just sculpting all of this stuff into sort of this unified sort of vision. And yeah, I was pretty scared going into that process, but over time we managed to chisel it out. You know, made it something. I have a history of working in sound design, so I find it very, very important thing. So we spent a very long time, about a year, doing the sound on this film. Yeah, about maybe 9 months.
No, I believe you. It's
Yeah.
just, it's
Yeah,
a long time.
yeah, actually more like maybe 9 months would
Yeah.
be from when they were actually handed the
Just gone so
finished thing.
fast.
Yeah, and then and so basically just told them we go through, sit down, and I go through the film with them and go, this is what I want here, this is what I want there, and and that sort of thing like that, and then you just let them to it. What we did is I pulled together our sort of small team at that point, and we shot like a teaser for the film. So we sort of did this trailer, which sort of explained what the film was about, gave a sense of what its mood was, and introduced the character of Scarlett and this idea of the hypnosis and all that sort of stuff. So we did that, and I cut that together, and that's sort of then between Michelle, Melinda, and I, we sort of from that built up the overall campaign of it, what we're saying, what we're asking for, presenting what we're saying, and then over the course of the next 2 months, we just kept updating it, pushing it out there, keeping in people's minds, and in the end, we ended up making $5,400. So from $1,500 to $3,000 to $5,400. So it was a really good process. There's a lot of work involved. There is a lot of work involved, but yeah, no, I think it was I think we did something right on that one. And that's sort of one of the reasons that we're having this big public screening for the film. I mean, other than just to cap off a very, very long period of shooting, just to give it a big send off and go, that's it. But we had a number of very, very generous Indiegogo contributors give us money to make this film, and so part of this evening that we're getting ready is for them. It's to go, this is what you've invested in, and enjoy yourself, because we appreciate the fact that you did this for us, and that's what this night's also about. The cast and crew screening was great. That was a really entertaining night. We hosted the cast and crew screening at the Backlot Studios in Perth, which is an amazing venue. It is incredible. It is just the quality of everything in there is just top notch. I mean, the film, when we played the film on, getting all these people who worked on the film together, pressing play on that film and just being absorbed in this experience, the big screen, the really big sound, and it was just the best way to show this to these people who had put so much time and effort into this film. It was a real moving experience, and they seemed to love it, which is really, really awesome. I'm so excited for the public screening. I can't even express it. I feel like my team and we've put together a really, really entertaining piece of film, a moving piece of film, and it when you're sitting there in the dark with all these people around you, and the film starts, and you're just grabbed, and everybody is experiencing what is happening in front of them at the same time, and it is just I'm so excited to just let it out and see how people react to it, because I'm really, really confident that people will like this film, because it's really good. It's a really good film.